Now we're all here because of some connection we feel with Habonim Southern Africa. For many of us, the movement was a formative influence on our lives. It was the place of first loves, of lifelong friendships, of exhilarating social, cultural, and intellectual adventures, where we learned to think, how to relate, and how to dream. And so at this surreal time of disconnection, we're gathering the Habonim family together through Talking Head.
Each time I entered the HED Zoom session, I for one felt like I was going out for a social cultural pula.
This has been such a huge treat and really one of the silver linings, I think, of this COVID pandemic.
This was simply tremendous. It's across ages, across generations.
HED and Habonim is an intergenerational global success.
It's just so Habonim, like to have a response like this in the moment. It's really meaningful.
This is a first for me, but I do know that a lot of friends are in the background on the screen.
Seeing the names, it's pretty incredible. Half of your names have appeared on some of my best Machane tents, so kudos for that.
There's an amazing phenomenon to see people who have a common background coming together to discuss a wide-ranging list of topics.
This is the magic of HED, the gathering of experts from across the globe, all graduates of the movement, and brought together on one common platform to share their knowledge and their expertise.
There's a strategy called mRNA that's going to probably yield the ability to create a vaccine, not within a year and a half, but possibly within half of that time.
I don't think governments have overreacted. The prospect of tens or hundreds of thousands of deaths is tragic and unsustainable.
Patients are going to be in the same position in 50 years' time, maybe worse.
I treat critically ill patients, I teach students and residents, and I train nurses to do what they have to do.
If young human beings were taught knowledge and practical skills to become more conscious and aware.
Boys, they just get it together. But on the other hand, girls develop the ability to discuss, to negotiate, to give up, empathy, to look at other people.
I started to help the asylum seekers.
And the same question I ask myself, will we as nations and societies become better versions of ourselves?
Unfortunately, Durban has been in the news for some really bad stuff in the last week or two.
Has South Africa actually improved the plight of its citizens since 1994 in particular?
When I used to get up for a speech, there was some confusion as to whether I was going to sing Hatikva, Late Miss Kate, or make a speech about the political situation in Rhodesia as it was at the time.
Most of my memories about Habonim are about music and singing.
I think that all of my art is very much inspired by my early years in Africa.
Will progressive Judaism lead to assimilation, or can progressive Judaism lead to assimilation?
Because we're largely consistent of Litvaks who brought their fiddler on the roof type families to the tip of Africa through the beginning quarter of the 20th century and fitted in as white by proving to be as conservative as the Calvinist Afrikaans settlers.
I think it was necessary to make sure that people could understand where they came from and possibly where we're going to.
The Jewish community in South Africa has a lot of concern for kind of appearing outwardly progressive.
The solution wasn't a recipe. It wasn't about, we could simply add women to the pot and stir, and then we'd have gender equity in the movement.
I'm going to talk a bit about what it's like to be queer in the South African Jewish community today.
The best way to summarize what pansexuality is in one little saying is, I go for hearts and not parts.
Hopefully we get to a point in which when you ask people their pronouns, it's a very normal and standard thing.
There are all sorts of technologies where you produce artificial embryos from trees, coat those, and inject those into the ground.
One area where we definitely should not minimize is the power of community action, grassroots activism.
There's blind spots where you don't even realize
that you are supporting the things that you are thinking that you are ideologically opposed to supporting.
This evening is probably going to be one of the more controversial subjects we've tackled on HED. It'll need cool heads and respectful dialogue.
Current events in Israel. We've just finished 2021 and a lot is going on and a lot's going to go on.
Yesterday saw a pro-Palestinian protest of 180,000 people.
I want Israel to be a democratic for all. This is my vision. I live in Israel. I'm an Israeli citizen.
I'm just more optimistic about our ability to change leadership in the US than I think I am about your ability to change the leader in Israel.
I choose charging at windmills, and I will write what I write, and I will stay.
A book of reflection of our generation, of our time.
Habibi, Habibi, Habibi,
in our memory, young, handsome, ebullient, cynical, and happy.
The songs we sang are the songs that they sang. That the onerous campsite that we knew is the onerous campsite that they knew. And they probably had dreams of the future.
One should always leave at least one egg for the future. And I guess sustainability, harvesting passion, but actually I could have called my talk today Tikkun Olam.
I think the first work is shared vision, as with Habonim, as with Israel. The vision came first. And I think that's what we're doing right now.
It's always amazing to me to see how accomplished our presenters are, but especially how much their Habonim experience has influenced their life choices.
There's no organization like Habonim, where its graduates have indeed made the world a better place.
The genius of the youth movement is that it gives you space and then kicks you out in a process both poignant and radical.
Sometimes on Friday night after Kiddush, we're not surprised when everyone jumps up, holds their forks up in the air and sing, close the doors, they're coming through the windows.
I joined Habonim when I was 8, but like most of you, it actually made my life as a teen.
I'd say for me, probably intellectually, the most vibrant period of awakening was the period I spent in Habonim.
The reason that I'm observant today is that I was a Habonimnik and I was challenged by the movement.
Whenever anybody's asked me, where were you educated? I always said in my Jewish youth movement in South Africa.
It was a perfect place to develop my social conscience among a group of cool, politically progressive people, equally comfortable with singing 100 Green Bottles and debating socialist theory.
If we're looking at what people are saying at Habonim, there's still incredible protest mindset going on.
Habonim had to start to exist in response to that.
Habonim life in South Africa for me was absolutely all-encompassing. Being a leader then and today is about knowing who I am while taking full responsibility in whatever framework I'm leading.
Leadership is about running a madrich, an onrus. In other words, how do you get everyone engaged? How do you get everyone involved and feeling good about the mission? And that has been at the center of my leadership style. Again, thank you to Habonim.
Habonim developed in its chevra a sensitivity to the other, an appreciation for nuance, and a multi-dimensionality that are antidotes to the dumbed-down, one-dimensional world of screens and memes that we currently inhabit.
Habonim are going homeward to Israel
to celebrate 92 years of Habonim South Africa.
To share that common experience and just have a lot of fun as well.
It was quite amazing seeing the names in the chat. Took me back to some powerful moments a long time ago.
I packed my bags and came to Machaneh. Don't miss Radio 5 at all, and I can't blow dry my hair. I don't know where I'm going to, and I do know where I've been.